My husband disappeared with our son for 2 days, and left me with divorce papers. The silence in my kitchen the morning they left was deafening. My husband, Daniel, had packed a small overnight bag, cheerfully telling me he was taking our 7-year-old son, Ethan, on a weekend trip. Just some father-son bonding, he said, smiling in that way that used to reassure me. Ethan's excitement was infectious, his little backpack bouncing on his shoulders, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. I kissed them both goodbye at the door, never imagining that would be the last time my family would feel whole. For 48 hours, I told myself they were safe. I checked my phone constantly, waiting for updates. A photo, a text, a call, anything. But nothing came. I tried to silence the gnawing worry in my chest. Daniel was forgetful sometimes, distracted. Maybe he just wanted uninterrupted time with Ethan. But a mother's instincts are rarely wrong. By the second night, the pit in my stomach had become unbearable. I hardly slept, replaying our last conversation over and over, searching for hidden meaning. When the door finally creaked open on Sunday evening, my heart leapt with relief. But instead of the sound of Ethan's laughter, I found a thick envelope on the kitchen counter. No hugs, no stories of their trip. Just divorce papers. My hands trembled as I opened them. It felt like the air had been sucked from the room. Daniel had chosen this cold, heartless way to end a decade of marriage, and he had taken Ethan with him to cushion the blow. I collapsed into the chair, staring at the empty breakfast plates still on the table from 2 mornings ago. The cereal bowl Ethan had half finished before they left was still there, a dried milk ring clinging to its edge. That small, ordinary detail broke me more than the legal words on those pages. My husband hadn't just left me. He had shattered the home we built, without warning, without explanation. The days that followed were a blur of phone calls and legal consultations. Daniel didn't answer when I called. Instead, his lawyer did. The message was clear. He wanted custody, he wanted out, and he wanted it fast. I couldn't understand. We had problems, yes, arguments about money, about his long work hours, about how distant he'd become, but I thought we were weathering them together. Apparently, I was the only one still fighting. What hurt most wasn't the betrayal itself, but the way he used Ethan as a shield, as if our son were just another asset to be claimed. I remembered Ethan's little voice before they left. "Mommy, Daddy says we're going to have the best adventure ever." My throat burned as I realized Daniel had turned that adventure into an escape plan. But grief has a way of hardening into resolve. As much as I wanted to crumble, I knew I couldn't. Not for myself, but for Ethan. I hired the best attorney I could afford, even when the fees threatened to drain my savings. I documented everything, every missed call, every unopened text, every piece of evidence that showed Daniel's sudden cruelty. And slowly, piece by piece, I rebuilt my strength. The custody battle was brutal. Daniel painted me as unstable, emotional, unfit. Sitting in that courtroom, hearing the man I once loved twist my life into a story that wasn't mine, was a pain I can hardly describe. But when the judge asked me to speak, I looked him straight in the eye and told the truth. Not the rehearsed, venom-filled words of Daniel's lawyer, but the raw truth of a mother who loved her son. I spoke about bedtime stories and scraped knees, about Ethan's love for painting and his fear of thunderstorms. I spoke about being there, every day, while Daniel was away on business trips that turned out to be weekends with someone else. I didn't need to tear Daniel down. I only needed to show the court the depth of my bond with Ethan. In the end, the judge saw through the lies. I was granted primary custody, with Daniel allowed visitation. The papers that once symbolized my destruction were replaced with new ones, documents affirming my right to protect and raise my son. The day Ethan came home for good, he ran into my arms and whispered, "Mommy, I missed you." That moment erased months of fear, sleepless nights, and tears. It didn't erase the betrayal, but it reminded me of my purpose, to give him a safe, loving home, no matter what. Looking back, I see now that Daniel's disappearance was not the end of my story, it was the beginning of my strength. He thought he could break me with divorce papers, but instead, he forced me to discover the resilience I never knew I had. So here's my message to anyone listening who feels blindsided by betrayal. You are stronger than the pain that tries to consume you. Heartbreak is not the end. It's the fire that forges you into someone unshakable. Daniel may have left me with papers on the kitchen counter, but what he didn't realize is that he left me with something else too, the chance to rise, to fight, and to reclaim my life on my own terms. And that is exactly what I did.